growing food in containers or in small spaces. And what we're going to start talking about is we're going to start with the new dwarf tomatoes, which completely blew my mind this winter when I realized what they were. We just started to carry Fruition Seeds, which is a seed saver group in New York State. And they're wonderful, wonderful people. They write you personal notes when you get an invoice. They're just so amazing, hugely beautiful people. But I'm going through their list because I love to order seeds. Although Jillian's taken over the seed ordering now, you know. And I went, dwarf tomatoes. I mean, what does that mean? Are they small? Are they like cherries? No, what they are dwarf plants. So, which I think is an interesting thing for today's gardeners. There's the young people who live in apartments or rent and everything has to be portable. And then there's the other side of the coin where people are downsizing and they're moving into smaller places, but they still want the beauty of a fresh tomato. So, and ironically, as soon as we got the seed in, we got this book in, which I did not know Diane and Amber had ordered, but it's called Epic Tomatoes. And the author of the book, Craig Leholier, from North Carolina, is one of the breeders of the dwarf tomatoes. So I'm reading about this. I'm like, we need to get these plants grown out for us, which we have. They're basically, a few are here. Most are coming in next week. And then I realized that this is the guy that wrote the book on tomatoes. And I could read this book all day. I mean, it's just so interesting. But to sort of explain what happened here, there's two kinds of tomatoes. There's indeterminate, which are tomatoes that grow like vines forever and ever, amen. And then there's determinate, which go to a certain height and stop. And usually what we tell people is if you're going to grow in a container or a hanging basket, any smaller space, you don't want to have to... Are you laughing at my hat, Deb? Hey, you're the hat lady. Yeah. Any smaller space, then a determinate tomato is the one for you, because most of the time tomatoes will outgrow a cage. However, it's pretty well known in the field of tomato lovers that most determinate tomatoes aren't that flavorful. That the real flavor in a tomato comes from an heirloom. And an heirloom is something that's been around for generations and generations. So back in 2006, this guy Craig Leholier, who wrote the book Epic Tomatoes, who lives in North Carolina, decided he was going to go on a mission to try and breed or come up with flavorful dwarf tomatoes that are determinate growing. That means they only get 3 to 4 feet tall, but have the flavor of heirlooms. So it's called the Cross Hemisphere Tomato Breeding Project. He got together with this woman, Patricia Nusky Small, in Australia. Tomato lovers are like they're just fanatics, and they communicate all over the world. And they decided that they would start what's called an all-volunteer, all-amateur, worldwide team of the Cross Hemisphere Tomato Breeding Project. And that was in 2006. 150 people participated, and all over the world. And the way it works is Craig and Patricia and a lot of other people around the world were originally members of Seed Savers Exchange. Now, Seed Savers Exchange is a seed company that we buy from, and they have a seed bank. And if you look at the genetically modified or extremely hybridized plants, those, you can't save the seed from them. They don't come true to seed. And there's a fear in the world that we're going to lose our genetic diversity, that the really strong genetic diversity of all the foods is going to go away. So Seed Savers has been collecting seeds from people all over the world. Somebody will send in a packet. These are tomatoes that my uncle from Romania grows every year, and you save them and grow them out. So Craig was a member of this, and he started getting in tomatoes from different places and really falling in love with different flavors. And so they decided they would take the most flavorful heirlooms and cross them with some of the determinate tomatoes and work on getting flavorful dwarf tomatoes that had the heirloom quality, but were not going to grow like a vine up to China. I mean, in my garden, I stake and stake and stake and stake and snip and stake, and it's like this big elaborate labyrinth in my vegetable garden. I don't care, I'll do it anyway. So, so you kind of have to know about hybridization. I was asking Jillian, do you know what an F1 hybrid is? And you had to go rewind back to high school biology, and you realize that you take tomato A and you take tomato B and you cross them and you get tomato C, which is an F1 hybrid. So like if you took the seed of a cherry tomato like Sun Gold and you grew it out, you might get 15 or 20 different kinds of yellow tomatoes. Some would be really flavorful, some wouldn't, some would be red, some would be yellow, because within the genes of that plant, when A crossed with B, there's all this diversity. So their process was to select varieties that they wanted to play with, cross them, and then grow them out, and then keep selecting and crossing and growing them out until they came up with varieties that they felt were worthy of the trade and stable, meaning they'll grow out stable, meaning they won't just, like that seed will be, true to seed from then on. So, so now there's over 17 new unique varieties of dwarf tomatoes that have been introduced to the trade. They come in red, pink, purple, brown, green, white, orange, swirled, bicolors, and striped. There's cherry, regular size, heart-shaped plums. And so we've grown a few this year. And I mean, I was on a mission, and Jillian's been running the vegetable department, the Incredible Edibles department, and when I explained to her my mission, she just jumped right on the bandwagon. So, and I'm not sure that all of these plants are here yet because it's way too cold to plant tomatoes, if you ask me.
Yeah.
If I took tomatoes home today, I would bring them in the house and put them on a heating pad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're a warm season crop. They're from South America. I was in the shop this morning and I saw Austin field 2 calls in a row. Your tomatoes here. It's like this knee-jerk reaction. It's Mother's Day weekend, must plant tomatoes. No. You can look at them, you can take them home, you can buy them. If you're worried you're not going to get them, grab them and bring them home. But don't plant them in cold ground. It's just going to sit back. That's it. There are some cool plants here. So let me see. What do we got here? We've got Fred's tie-dye. Fred's tie-dye is 65 days to maturity. So it's a vast plant. Most determinate plants are 8-ounce slicing, pale red, wine-colored tomato with green and silver stripes. Grows 3 to 4 feet tall. So that's Fred's tie-dye. And if you read in this book, if you create the tomato by breeding, you get to name it. So they're all named off of people, named for people. Lucky Swirl, 75 days. Everything we love about German striped gold medal tomatoes and Rose de Bern brandywine tomatoes in one. 70%, and this is what's interesting. Jillian and I were looking at this. 70% of the plants that grow out from this seed are large slicers that are yellow on the top, orange in the middle, and red on the bottom, while 30% are large rose red slicers. They all have the delightfully rich fruit flavors and quintessential juiciness that something like a Rose de Bern or a brandywine would have.
So it really does taste like tomato, even though it's like yellow or purple.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Have you ever eaten a tomato that was really flavorful that was yellow? I have a picture of me. I'm holding one. It was, it was just like, you just want to go, I mean, it was so good. So juicy. They don't last long. Most of the heirlooms are not bred for shipping.
Okay.
I mean, what happened to the tomato industry is everybody wants tomatoes in the winter. So they have to be able to pick them wherever they're grown, where it's warmer than here, and ship them across the country, and they never have the flavor. Now you're getting greenhouse grown. But no, they can be, like some of the most delicious tomatoes are purple, black, striped, yellow.
I've seen those colors.
Yeah. Now, my husband doesn't watch these videos and he doesn't come to these classes, but I mean, he likes a red, round tomato. Doesn't matter. It has to taste good, but he likes his tomatoes red. And he's like, he does not understand. Like Cherokee purple, whatever. But, the thing is that the flavor is the key. And if you read about tomato tastings and ratings, various farms like Seed Savers has this incredible tomato tasting festival. And blind tasting, you rate them. I mean, you'll read once you get into it, you'll read in the descriptions, #1 in the yellow tomato tasting contest, So it is a great question because a lot of people think if it's not bright red, deep ruby red, it can't have the flavor, but that's not the case at all. So, and then the other one that we have here, we have Fred's Tie-Dye Scarlet Heart, Lucky Swirl, and Sweet and Neat Cherry Red and Yellow, which is a cherry tomato. So And then I have the seed packets, which I put down somewhere. I don't know where I just put them. Somewhere.
On your book, I
These
think.
estimates from seed to fruit.